Hello and welcome to 13 Now. I'm Elaine Houston. A lot of news going on, primarily the weather. That's what most people are interested in. So let's go to meteorologist Paul Caiano. He's in the Weather Center. And boy, people are really looking at this storm. I mean, already a lot of airlines, I think about 1,400, Paul, have closed, have canceled their flights, I should say.
Yeah, pretty miraculous, Elaine. This storm is far reaching. We've heard about the headlines across the country all week long ahead of the travel holiday. And now we're getting ready to feel some of the impacts here in the capital region. Noteworthy because it's a multi-hazard storm here. We're going to be on the warm side of the storm, the cold side of the storm, and in between a whole bunch of wind and a variety of precipitation. So let's have a look here and we'll talk about some of the hazards associated with this storm, not in any particular order, but I think possibility wise, the highest possible hazard would be strong winds across the higher terrain, especially starting tonight and lasting through tomorrow, with the peak winds coming through on Friday morning before the sun comes up, especially across the higher terrain. That could lead to scattered to widespread power outages. So we'll be watching that closely. Now, when the temperature drops tomorrow from the 50s rapidly through the 40s, 30s, and 20s, we could see what we call a flash freeze. We've been discussing this the last couple of days, where any standing water from rain or snow melt ices up pretty quickly on untreated surfaces. So that's a potential hazard for tomorrow. And then, of course, with heavy rain coming in tonight and tomorrow morning, streams, creeks could reach bankfull, especially when you include the warm air and snow melt. So there is that flood risk. First, I want to handle the wind gust speeds. Check the speeds out as forecast by one of our computer models for Bennington overnight tonight in the wee hours of the morning. 50, 55, 60, almost 65 mile per hour wind gusts coming through overnight. And nothing to sneeze at here early after the sun comes up with wind gusts over 40. This could easily take out power. And that's why a good chunk of the area east of the Greater Capital District under a high wind warning from Rensselaer and Columbia counties to Bennington and Washington counties, including Warren County in the upper Hudson Valley and North Country for wind gusts over 50. Some places see wind advisories with wind gusts over 40. Notice there's a chunk of the area right in the middle of the Capital District with no advisories or warnings. That's not to say it's not going to be windy, just not reaching that criteria. Notice flash flood watch for our entire area due to the rain and snow melt. Not doing anything yet, but the skies are clouding up rather quickly now, and precipitation is coming in from the south and west, mainly in the form of some wet snow across the higher terrain in the Catskills. You can see temperatures are hovering close to freezing right now across the board. So we'll probably have a messy mixture developing in the next hour or two and overspreading the entire area into the evening. So a sloppy and slow evening commute for some, especially across the higher terrain tonight, with others seeing just a rainy evening and overnight. That rain will pick up as the precipitation intensifies from the south, and some of that wind will begin to pick up as well as we hit the overnight hours. The hour-by-hour forecast, temperature-wise, well up into the 40s for tomorrow morning, and that rain will come down heavily at times. But look what happens after about noon or 1 o'clock, 40s, 30s, 20s. So that's why we're forecasting the potential for that flash freeze. So the hour-by-hour forecast shows a little bit of snow to start. Hill towns will have a coating up to a couple of inches, then a change over to rain overnight. Notice the rain coming through heavily at times. We'll stop the clock at 3:15. Think about that. You're trying to sleep. You got winds over 40, 50 miles per hour, pouring rain. So a lot of hazards during the overnight period. Some folks will lose power while you sleep overnight. Early tomorrow morning, a bit of a break in the rain, but still a lot of wind. And then here comes that front with the big change coming at around, let's say, lunchtime. And that sweeping change for later in the day with temperatures nosediving back through the freezing mark. 40 tonight, temperatures go up overnight with precipitation changing to all rain and that wind really picking up through tomorrow morning, turning sharply colder tomorrow afternoon. So be cautious of the potential for some icing the second half of the day, Friday into Friday night. Then it's all about the wind and the cold Friday night and into the holiday. You can see on Saturday, temperatures mainly in the 20s for afternoon highs, and staying in the 20s on Christmas Day as well. So in Lane, it looks like we're going to be dealing with this for at least a couple of days, and certainly the onset of the precipitation on our doorstep. So we'll be tracking it closely and update everybody starting live at 4.
All right, Paul, thank you. And people just have to be safe out there because this is a mixed bag, as you say.
Yeah, extra slow. I know this is the time of year where people like to move a little faster, right? You try to grab one of those last minute gifts or try to get some stuff done before the holiday because you have one or two things on the list that have to get done. Just if you do stuff like that, take it easy out there. Beware of changeable conditions.
Okay, Paul, thanks so very much. And you'll have much more for us tonight at 4 and 5 and 5:30 and 6. So thanks, Paul.
I'll be here all night.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Well, we were talking about those winds and talking about some airports already having to make cancellations. Here in Albany, that's not the case. I want to read to you what the airline officials are saying to us. Doug Myers put out a press release, and he says that Albany International is open. It's operating. The airport is expected to remain operational throughout the storm. As of 10:30 this morning, he said that all departing flights had departed on time, and because of the strong storm now impacting the Midwest, they are beginning to see some disruptions of their daily flight schedule as that storm intensifies. Southwest Airlines, he says, has taken precautions of canceling its evening flight from Chicago to Midway. So probably the best thing that you can do is before you leave to go out, make sure that you call your airline and make sure that they are still, your plans are still there and they haven't made a cancellation. Another story that we want to tell you about is a special session that the lawmakers came back for today. And guess why they came back? To try and give themselves a pay raise. They met this morning to discuss giving themselves a raise for a salary of $142,000. Lawmakers returned to Albany today. News Channel 13's Dan Levy is there, and not all of the lawmakers, he says, say they are in favor of this plan. But Dan says when he asked them if the bill is approved, would they then accept the increase? Let's just say no one said they would give it back. We will have much more on that story for you tonight at 4 and at 5 and 5:30. Thanks so very much for joining us. That's it for us. I will see you tonight at 5 and 5:30. Have a good night.